We're looking at $12 billion in potential revenue from conspicuous consumption. Spending money on things to indicate economic stability, power, and status. It's what many brands are built on, and it's really what Apple was built on for a while as well. Growing up, Apple products always seemed unattainable to me, something reserved for people with resources that I myself did not have. And that made the brand alluring to myself and many others. It was basically like, if you're wealthy, you show up to school with a Mac, otherwise you probably show up with a PC. And that's how it was until...
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. This is one device, and we are calling it iPhone.
This holy object, we can't actually touch it.
How long did you wait?
22 hours.
Is it living up to expectations?
See Jobs as the tech world savior.
I think we're going to hit a grand slam with this.
Now, the iPhone started off like any other Apple product, exclusive and expensive. Everybody else had like a flip phone or probably like a QWERTY keyboard phone, and maybe if you're lucky, a BlackBerry. But if you were the guy, you had an iPhone. And that's how it was for a while, but slowly and surely, contracts would expire and people started upgrading. And eventually, if you didn't have a smartphone, ideally an iPhone, you were an outlier. That little moment of hype was gone. And that's fine with Apple, like they're selling phones like hotcakes at this point. But to me, I can't help but think there is a little bit of a missed opportunity here. So every year or two when a new iPhone comes out, you get a chance to be that guy again. But just for a second. Because now iPhones are, there's really no risk in buying an iPhone. It's a tried and true device and pretty much everybody has them. The upfront cost is really low with the cell phone payment plans that most service providers offer now. And like Apple isn't even trying to be exclusionary here. They're trying to move that sweet product as fast as they can. And they've been doing that, right? Like their sales have consistently, year over year, been really, really impressive. But nothing has quite met the hype of that initial iPhone launch. Not even close. And therein lies the opportunity. The reason the original iPhone launch was so hyped was because it felt rare, it felt scarce. Like when it first came out, seeing somebody with an iPhone was like an event. I would go home and be like, hey dad, this guy has an iPhone. I was crazy, I saw it in person. Like it felt really special to own an iPhone. So what can Apple do to like achieve that moment again? They could ship an entirely new product, like a completely different line of devices. And they've done that in the past and they'll continue to make new products. But that's not necessary, right? They have the perfect device right under their nose. They have the iPhone. It's a tested and true piece of tech, and there's obviously demonstrated appetite, consumer appetite for this thing. Like people love iPhones. So what if they added another tier, right? So they have the Pro, they have the Pro Max now, but I'm talking like a ultra tier, right? Priced at like $5,000 to $10,000. Okay, just listen for a second. I think I probably lost a lot of you guys right there. But just think about it, right? Like you add a high price tag on this device and some other feature that the other phones don't do, and you do really truly have yourself a luxury good. Something that you can truly conspicuously consume, something that your neighbor's probably not gonna have. Maybe it's like gold, silver materials in the actual construction of the phone. Maybe it's like concierge access or access to Apple exclusive clubs within their many thousands of stores they have internationally. I don't know what it is, and this probably deserves another video. But I'm telling you, if Apple can find some sort of exclusive luxury feature, throw on the $10,000 price tag, this is gonna slap, bro. I'm telling you, that phone is gonna slap. All right, so why am I so optimistic about this strategy? Let's look at the numbers, okay? So the closest thing to a luxury phone that Apple has is the iPhone Pro Max. It's got the best battery, best performance, best screen, and obviously it's the most expensive. I would expect the Pro Max to cater to a small portion of power users. But boy, I could not have been further from the truth. consider the iPhone 14. A JP Morgan analyst recently revealed that the iPhone 14 Pro Max is the best-selling model according to pre-order data, despite it being the most expensive. The Pro Max is priced at $1,100, which is $300 more than the standard iPhone 14. But that really proves that we are willing to pay more for higher tier phones to a degree. So let's say we price this new ultra tier luxury iPhone at $5,000. So things get a little wishy-washy here because you really can make an argument that there is $300 of extra value between the base level iPhone 14 as compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Like screen, performance, battery, again, that's probably worth $300 to people, the feature set. Whereas with a luxury iPhone, yes, again, Apple will need to add something cool to justify a $5,000 phone somewhat. But this venture really would rely more heavily on branding, like more heavily on the exclusivity of owning this luxury iPhone than the actual inherent value in this different device, I think. And I don't really have any hard evidence to back up my claim that such an expensive unit would see success. It works for clothes, right? But would it work for tech? Like, would it work for a phone? I don't know. I'm not going to bullshit you. I don't know. But I feel like it could. And let's say it did. Like, how much money could Apple make with an opportunity like this? Let's look at the numbers. 242 million iPhones were sold in 2021. Let's try to be conservative here and say that only 1% of consumers opted to buy our new luxury model, and we'll price it at $5,000. We'll even assume that sales volume holds steady at 242 million. It'll probably increase. That gives us 2.4 million luxury units sold. Not a huge amount, but if you factor the price tag here, we're looking at $12 billion in potential revenue from a luxury unit with pretty minimal sales volume. To put that into perspective, in 2022, Apple printed $205 billion in revenue from iPhone sales. So, $12 billion would be a significant portion of Apple's revenue going forward. The price and units sold are obviously numbers I largely pulled out of my ass. Those numbers are really better off estimated by some analysts who's paid a lot more than a YouTuber with less than 1,000 subs. But I digress. I know this video was a little bit different than some of my other ones, but let me know if you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.